Shri Sai Ram, Prashanti Vahini, by Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba, Chapter 11, Ashtanga Yoga 1, Eightfold Disciplines, Yama, Niyama, Asana. Bodham or knowledge is of two kinds, Paroksha Bodham, indirect knowledge, and Aparoksha Bodham, knowledge of the immediate self, the knowledge or understanding with conviction gained through the Vedas and the Vedangas or the limbs of the Vedas, Yukti and Prayukti, logic and application, and Uha, reasoning, is Paroksha Bodham. When this understanding is experienced and realized, it is called Aparoksha Bodham. The Parabrahma, the universal absolute, which is Satyam or existence, Jnanam, consciousness, and Anandam or bliss, is Swata Siddha or self-evident, and so its understanding is verily Paroksha Jnanam or indirect knowledge. Looked at from one point of view, the holy Brahman has no Paroksha and Aparoksha. It is unique wealth which is beyond these two. To obtain this Brahma Vidya or the knowledge of the Absolute, this Aparoksha Jnanam, direct experiential knowledge, the first sadhana or the spiritual practice, is Sadguru Surusha, serving the preceptor who realize the reality, that is, to take refuge in Sadguru and to serve him incessantly with complete faith in him. The Sadguru too should be instructing the disciple always and in simple pleasing ways of the nature of Brahman. When the disciple listens and pays attention to such teachings, it is termed as Paroksha Jnanam. This Paroksha Jnanam itself, which was attained by listening, can be transformed into Aparoksha Jnanam by constant mananam, that is recapitulation, turning over in the manas or mind. The Paroksha Jnanam is as fleeting as letters drawn on water, while the Aparoksha Jnanam is as indelible as letters carved on rock. In this way, if one has complete faith in Sadguru, always listens to Brahma Jnanam and contemplates upon it deeply and constantly, it transforms into repository of Aparoksha Jnanam. When the word horse is heard, the form of the horse presents itself before the mind. So too, at the word Brahman, the nature of Brahman will come into the consciousness. This is what is called dhyasa or the right cognition or right conception. By those versed in the sadhana, chatushtayam, the fourfold principles of sadhana, to attain such dhyasa, the mumuksha, the one who aspires for liberation, should be endowed with virtues such as shanti or peace, sama, mind control, dhamma, keeping the senses under control, and also the attitude of acting always without any desire for the fruits of action, that is nishkama buddhi. Whoever possesses the sad sampati or the six virtues of samadama, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, and samadhana can easily see before his mind's eye the Swarupa of Brahman as soon as he hears even once the exposition of the nature of Brahman and can merge in that consciousness. Whoever possesses these Sat Sampatti of Samadama etc. can become a Phalabhogi Viragi, one who renounces the desire to enjoy the fruits of his actions in this world. When this Vairagyam or renunciation is rooted deep, the chitta or mind becomes fearless. Only then the state of uparati or the withdrawal of the senses from the objective world can be attained. Yoga is of two types. One is Raja Yoga and the other is Jnana Yoga. In Raja Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga or Eightfold Disciplines is practiced. This is the noblest path. In this Ashtanga Yoga, there are again two types of components, external and internal. In the Jnana Yoga, there is no external at all. Both these yogas have as their goal vritti vilaya, the merging of the modification of the mind into the consciousness. For those who have calmed all the chitta vrittis or the modifications of the mind, everything is Brahman. As per the opinion of Brahma Vidyas, as per the opinions of the Brahmavids or the enlightened ones of these two kinds, Jnana Yoga more, then Raja Yoga is the one that is to be known and attained. But according to the wisdom of the Upanishads, the aparoksha jnanam or the direct experiential knowledge of the Brahman is said to have embedded in the practice of Ashtanga Yoga of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi, which is as per Raja Yoga. Yama, it is said, Ahimsa, Satya, Steya, Brahmacharya, Parigraha, Yamaha. Yama consists of 5 components, namely Ahimsa, non-violence, Satya, truth, Asteya, to refrain from stealing, to adopt and adhere to Brahmacharya or celibacy, and not to accept any dhanam or charity. But I would say instead that Yama means to develop virakti or detachment or lack of affection towards the body and the senses. The effulgent Brahman, the absolute or supreme spirit, is present in each substance devoid of nama and rupa, name and form, as Nirguna, one devoid of all attributes, Ananta, one without end, Santapa, Dukha, Shunya, one without joy or sorrow, Bhavavarjita, one devoid of any modifications, Sashvata or eternal, and of the nature of Satchit Ananda, being awareness, bliss. The same Brahman appears when you are in the state of Bhranti or delusion as all this Vishwam, creation, as this Samsaram, ever-changing world, endowed with all opposite qualities, that is to say, with name and form, joys and sorrows, variety of qualities and modifications, perishable, has various limitations and devoid of wisdom. Thus, this Supreme Brahman appears in the form of Vyasti or microscopic being and in the form of Samishti or macroscopic being, that even great scholars and Pandits are deluded. It is the same Chaitanyam or consciousness that manifests in different ways and appears as Vyasti, individual, and as Samashti, a collection of individuals. Within the Chaitanyam of Brahman, Vyasti, individual, appears falsely as Dehatraya, gross, subtle and casual bodies, just like a rope falsely appears as a snake, and like a mirage falsely appearing as water body. But for a Brahmavid, the state of Dehatraya is nothing but mithya, one which is neither absolutely real or nor unreal. The ignorant man, caught in the meshes of this delusion, believes that samsaram or objective world is everlasting and a source of happiness and gets attracted to it. He considers Brahman, which is the basis of everything, as mithya, one which has its basis in something else. Caught up in the Deha Bhranti or false identification of oneself with the body, men suffer in the coils of attachment towards their mother, father, wife, children, relatives, friends, etc., to firmly realize through the constant contemplation of the Brahman, who is of the nature of Satchit Ananda, being awareness, bliss, through the exercise of vivekam or discrimination between the changeless and the changing, through satsangam, association with the good, through the service of the wise, and through the acquisition of purity of buddhi or intelligence, that I am not the body, I am not the senses, I am that Brahman who is the basis for the entire Deha Traya of Vyasti, individual, and Samishti, collective of individuals. The establishment of one's intellect in the consciousness is the real renunciation or verily vairagyam towards the body and the senses. This is what is called as yama in the Jnana Yoga. To be joyful in times of good fortune and sorrowful in times of bad, mistaking the pain of the body and the senses as one's own, such dual attitude and feeling must be overcome. The state beyond the attitude of duality has to be gained. Then gradually, one must become unthoughtful of the body and the senses. These are the signs of the one who has mastered the yama component. Yama means having the above characteristics and disciplines. Thus, this yama component is the very foundation for the idea of Jnana Yoga. Continuing sadhana without mastering yama will lead to many erroneous things. So sadhakas must take great care in this regard. Niyama. Niyama means to be pure, to be always full of joy, to engage in tapas or penance or japam, repeated utterance of a mantra or name of the chosen deity. That is what is mentioned in the Raja Yoga as Socha, Santosha, Tapa, Swateshwara, Paranidhanani, Niyamaha, meaning Socha or the purity within and without, Santosha, Swadhaya, Ishvara Parinadha, committed devotion towards the Lord or complete surrender to the Lord. These are the niyamas or the rules or observances. But I would explain it in the following manner. Niyama is to have deep prema or love for the highest truth, that is, Paramatma or Godhead at all times and under all conditions, as said in the Narada Bhakti Sutra. Sa Parama Prema Rupa. Bhakti is the highest form of prema. Bhakti means to have great anuragam, affection or attachment towards Paramatma. As soon as you have this affection towards Paramatma, all those Socha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhaya, Ishvara, Parinadhana mentioned in the Raja Yoga will be attained by themselves by default. When Yama component is one, it will be realized that whatever little ananda or pleasures or enjoyments, shanti or peace, and sukha, comforts and conveniences that men obtain from this world according to their deservedness are truly from the Parabrahman, who is Satchit Ananda, being awareness, bliss, but they are not derived from the false, barren, worldly, materialistic objects as thought by the sadhakas. Raso Vaishaha, he is the essence of Ananda or happiness. Anandoi Brahma, Brahma is Ananda, says the Upanishads. According to these Upanishad sayings, it is through Brahman that all this Vishwam or creation, all this samsaram, delusional worldly life appears to be filled with rasa or joy. Without the Brahman, who is of the absolute embodiment of joy, the samsaram, the fleeting, evanescent appearance of this world cannot appear so sweet and joy-giving to all people. It would have appeared terribly bitter. So, for this sweetness that samsaram gives, that embodiment of nectar, that is the Brahman, is the cause. Listening to the significance of the terms of Vedanta in the company of the knowers of Brahman in a spirit of humility and earnestness, to have burning desire, to acquire necessary jnanam, to realize that at apara vastu or ulterior entity, that is Brahman, to always have nirhetu prema or unconditional love towards the Lord. These are the signs of being established in niyama. The sadhaka or the spiritual aspirant who is successful in niyama will not be affected by harsh words or criticism. He will be unmindful of the troubles caused by wind or sun or rain or any other great natural calamities. He will not be affected by honor or dishonor. He will be filled with love towards God and move in the world free from all attachments and with one and only aim of realizing his most beloved Brahman. He who has attained this stage of niyama will be ready to sacrifice everything for the acquisition of jnana. He will run to any distance unmindful of the toil involved to listen to the discussions of Brahman. He will obey every instruction of the Vijnanis or the wise men. They alone are his most intimate friends who teach him the Chinnamaya Tattvam or the principle of pure consciousness, which he considers as apurva or unprecedented. He will put up with any trouble in trying to fulfill their wishes. These are the signs of achieving niyama. Asana. One should have a steady pose in sitting. That is to say, one should not either tremble or sway. Even if one sits like a rock, motionless and with all joints locked, like a paralyzed person, but grieving in mind, it can never be called asana. That is not the sign of asana. Asana means, along with the steadiness of the physical body, there should also be sukham or convenience and comfort that brings delight to the heart. So whatever the pose adopted by the sadhaka of yoga, it must be very steady and comfortable. That is why Patanjali has said, Sthira Sukham Asanam, steady, comfortable posture. However, I am telling you the same thing in another way. The best asana is that which gives you the udasin bhava. The udasin bhavam or the attitude of unaffectedness towards all kinds of things. Udasinata or attitude of unaffectedness towards all kinds of things unconnected to Paramatma means to conduct in accordance with this world and as prescribed in the Vedas. For example, if someone whose ways are not in harmony with yours comes near you, at that time there is no need for you to find fault with him. There is no need either to make fun of him or show him your contempt. It is enough if you continue to do your own work. He will leave and go about with his own business and ways. This is what is called as udasina bhavam, the attitude of unaffectedness after the dawn of paranarukti or affection or love towards or devotion towards the Absolute. That madhura prema or the nectarous love will make the aspirant have the udasina bhavam when encountered with all other worldly things. To be more exact, one should constantly be turning over in the mind the reality of Brahma and the unreality of the Jagat. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. One must avoid comradeship with the bad and too much of friendship with the good. Even comradeship or friendship of this nature will drag the aspirant down from the centripetal path, the Nivritti Margam, that is the inward path, to the Pravritti Margam or the outward path. So, to give up this fascination or passion towards these momentary things and being detached with this vast Jagat, constantly moving world, inhabited by various names and forms, is what is called as udasinata or the attitude of unaffectedness. He who has attained this udasinata will not be worried about the good and the bad of this Jagat. the physical body and the senses, he will move about in this world with Shanti or peace, Danti or self-control, and Nirmalam, purity. If anyone has these signs of or characteristics, he is said to have attained the component asana. Jai Sai Ram.
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ